Welcome back, everybody. It's been a minute since I last recorded a video for this series because of the Thanksgiving break I took and all that good stuff. But I hope that you guys also had a great Thanksgiving and had some fun and some good times with your family and friends or whoever you spent your time with. And we're going to get back into the swing of things here as we go from year 3 to year 4 with this off season. So first we have player retirements. You got Mike Conley, Nick Batum, Russell Westbrook is gone, Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Ricky Rubio, Ibaka, Pat Bev, Jay Crowder, who was on our squad, and more. For staff retirements, Tom Thibodeau and Spoelstra retired, as did Luke Walton, Doug Christie, Lloyd Pierce, Ryan Bowen, and Kenny Johnston. Hall of Famers, we have one this year, and it's Russell Westbrook, which he does, in fact, deserve. Retired jerseys, Russell Westbrook gets his OKC one retired, spent 11 years over there in Oklahoma City. Draymond Green has his Warriors one retired, and Blake Griffin has his Clippers one retired as well. Now it's time for the draft lottery, and because we lost in the play-in tournament, we have a chance to have a higher spot in the lottery. Right now, we have the 15th best odds to get the first overall pick. I don't really expect us to move up, but there always is a chance that we do. We could also move down to 16, but we at least have a top 16 pick. So we take that. We also have the later first round pick from the Kings later in this first round. So my plan, to be honest, is to use our first pick on one of those 2 point guards that I put in out last episode. And for the second first round pick, I kind of want to go more towards maybe a center or just a big man that has high potential, because there are a couple of players that do. But I think overall I'm going to use that second pick to target a guy that has a very high potential and to see what we get out of that. So let's go ahead and see what happens here in the lottery. The Hornets will keep pick 16. We have the 15th best odds, so right here is where we're probably going to be, but we could move up, and we will stay at 15. So there is a definite chance that I will move up in this draft a couple of spots to get one of those point guards. But yeah, we have pick 15, we have pick 23, and let's see if anybody moves up here. So no change from 16 to 11. Or 16 to 10. So nobody's moved up so far, but we're getting into the top 9 now, and the Timberwolves have moved up to the top 4. As the Sound have pick 9, the Lakers have pick 8. And pick 7 goes to Chicago. The Rockets move up to the top 4. The Thunder stay at 6. I believe they have 3 lottery picks this draft. The Heat have pick 5. With pick 4, the Knicks have the best odds, and they will move up. The Rockets will have pick 4 via the Brooklyn Nets trade. The Knicks will have the 3rd spot. 2nd overall goes to the Timberwolves, and so the Spurs have the 1st overall pick. So they will get that legendary center that's probably like an 84 overall to start. So they have pretty much their next Tim Duncan kind of player. But here is your entire first round. So now we have staff signing, and we already have a full staff. I don't feel like I need to make any huge changes to our team or to our staff. I think I like where we are, and nobody has an expiring deal this season, so I'm comfortable leaving things where they are and just rolling into next year with this same staff. So right before the draft, just going to reiterate the 2 guys that we're going to look for with our first pick. That's either Byron Wellington or Ralph Simmons. These guys are in their low 20s, and Wellington is supposed to go at like 11 or 9 or 5. Simmons supposed to go at 9, 11, or 9. So they're both supposed to go like around the same spot. Might go back to back as soon as one is taken. I don't know if I want to wait until one is taken to move up in the draft, but from what I've seen, I think I kind of prefer Wellington over Simmons only because of his 3-point shooting. Simmons does have better defense and better playmaking, but Wellington's 3-point percentage, or I think 3-point attribute rather, could be a definite game changer. He could be kind of a 40% shooter from downtown, sort of like Simon Anderson was this season. So I think I like him more, but I'm not like opposed to drafting Simmons instead if we have to, because they are very, very similar players. So here's the draft, and I won't trade up until around pick 8 or 9. I think I'll wait until we get to that point to actually try and make a move there. But we'll see how the first couple of picks go. The Spurs have the first overall pick, and they select Calvin Gordon, who is going to be an absolute machine. He went to Creighton, had 16 rebounds per game last season. Minnesota, second overall pick, they take Dino Jukic out of Texas Tech. We talked about him a bit during our draft board episode. Pick 3 is Julio Cunningham, the other center who is a bit undersized at 6'9". So they might play him at power forward perhaps, but still a really good player. The Rockets take point guard Cameron Bellamy, who I think is probably not going to be as good as his attributes say because of his height. We all know that guys who are like shorter than 6'1 or 6'2 tend to have a lot of issues shooting especially. So that is a concern for him. But the Heat will trade pick 4 or 5. I think it's pick 5. And also a 2029 first round pick to the Clippers for Damian Lillard and Norman Powell. And the Clippers are now on the clock, and they take power forward Paolo Pacciani. So they trade a star player who is a bit old, I will say. Dame is getting up there in age, and they get Paolo Pacciani. So they're looking for their next guy to build around. OKC pick 6. They take small forward Vlade Rodic, who I was not really a fan of. He's a guy kind of like a Zet, but I think probably a bit worse to start out. He does have a good potential, but he really can't shoot the ball. So that is a concern for him. The Bulls at pick 7, they take center Preston Richards out of Illinois. 7 foot tall. Highest vertical of the combine. Now at pick 8 is where we start to consider pausing and moving up. But the Lakers will draft. No, they will trade this pick instead for Julio Cunningham from the Knicks. This makes no sense. So the Knicks now trade the pick that they made at pick 3 and instead draft center Rasheed Sanders. So they gain a second round pick in the future, and they still have a center who's a rookie who will probably be pretty solid. Also, he is taller than Cunningham, so I guess that works out for them. Now we have pick 9 from the Sound, and I'm going to see if we can trade up with them. So I'm going to hold off on trying to make this trade, and we'll just sim a pick or two and see what happens. I hope they don't take one of the 2 guys that I want, but it could happen. So they select point guard Ralph Simmons. Okay, so we have to get this deal done now with Portland. So I'm going to try this same deal with Portland and see if we can trade our first round pick this year with pick 15 and our 2029 first round pick unprotected for Portland's first this draft, and they say no. I'm going to include our second round pick for 2027 and see if this makes a difference. And it does. It gets the deal done. We have moved up to pick 10, and we are going to select the guy that I wanted all along. And that is going to be this guy right here, Byron Wellington. Welcome to Vancouver, sir. So again, he went to UCF. And Rob Mahoney says, questions are surrounding D'Angelo Russell's impending free agent status and whether or not he will resign. But regardless, I like Byron Wellington and his long-term outlook as an NBA prospect. So not really much analysis there from Rob, but appreciate that either way. So we get that guy. I don't plan on trading up any further. So we'll see who gets taken between this pick in our next one. But Bernie Cage goes the pick after us at pick 11. At pick 12, the Pelicans will trade with the Celtics. They get Marcus Smart and a second-round pick, and the Celtics select shooting guard Terrence Ryan out of Florida. Now the Suns take power forward Wally Bass out of Rhode Island. The Warriors on the clock, they take Javon Haynes, who I was hoping would fall to us, but some of the projections there were a bit widespread, so it's no shocker that he was taken here. The Trailblazers on the clock after our trade, they take power forward Rolando O'Brien out of Michigan. The Hornets take center Kyle Gardner out of San Diego State. The Hawks will trade pick 17 and a second for Valanciunas and John Konchar. So Chicago on the clock, they take small forward Frederick Dennis out of Oklahoma. The Thunder back on the clock. They will trade this pick and a first-round pick next year for Robert Williams, the Time Lord from the Celtics, who are now going to draft another player, and they take center Bryant Fleming. The Pelicans, next pick, they take small forward Charlie Schultz out of Marquette. The Clippers on the clock, they take shooting guard Bojan Bilic out of Slovenia. I was not a fan of him. The Raptors on the clock, they take shooting guard Oscar Tucker, who we did have on our draft board for a late first-round pick, perhaps, but he's gone now. The Jazz at pick 22 take small forward Clayton Dunn out of Columbia, and now Vancouver is back on the clock with their second first-round pick. So we are back on the clock, and our draft board is almost empty except for a couple of players, and that is Aaron Castro, Magnus Fredriksson, Hans Meyer, Hamon Guzman, and Jonathan Mullen. I don't want to take another guard because we are pretty stacked on guards as of right now. I do want to go with one of these centers down here, either Fredriksson or Hamon Guzman. Comparing them, Fredriksson does have a higher potential. I think our scouts say B+. The aggregates say B for him for potential, but both guys pretty similar. Fredriksson can't really shoot, but he can score inside. Also has good interior defense, better rebounding than Guzman. While Guzman can knock down threes, he's got some better post defense, not as good rebounding. But I think I like Fredriksson more here because of potential and because of that interior defense plus rebounding. And also he can score the ball from down low as well, which is a definitely what you want to look for a guy that's going to come off the bench. So I think we take Fredriksson here, who again has B+ inside scoring, A- post defense, B+ boards, B+ potential. His comparison with no badges is Luke Longley as a starter, and his floor is Daryl Dawkins. So he might not be like a home run pick or a guy that's going to be a great player in a couple of years, but I think that he could be that kind of Zubats-esque role off the bench. So we're going to select Magnus Fredriksson with our pick. Also, he has fallen. He was supposed to go at pick 17, 13, or 18, and he's still here at pick 23. So we can take him and feel good about our value pick. And welcome to Vancouver, Swedish man, Magnus Fredriksson. So now next pick, the Magic with pick 24. It will trade this in a second for Pat Connaughton and a first-round pick from the Celtics, who are back on the clock. They take Hamon Guzman out of Argentina. So that's 3 first-round picks for Boston, all of which they have done by trading up. Pacers take Hans Meyer, who was on our draft board. We have no second-round pick for this draft, so we are done. But the Pistons trade for Victor Oladipo and a second, and the Knicks are back on the clock. They take point guard Tony Shepard, who's 5'10". That is not going to work out. Next pick goes to Dallas. They take Wallace Doyle out of Memphis. The Grizzlies will select center Shane Blackman out of Utah State. The Magic back on the clock take point guard Fabricio De La Rosa out of Germany, who is a 6-foot-tall point guard. Brooklyn takes center Chris Tavares out of Loyola Marymount, but he is 7'1", so that's a big guy right there. The Celtics, their 4th first-round pick, they take Aaron Castro. And now the last pick of this first round, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they take power forward Mitch Cannon out of Pitt. So that is the end of the first round. I'm going to just simulate the rest of this draft, and we'll go through a couple of the players on the draft summary. So our draft is over, and Calvin Gordon went first overall. He is an 84 overall center at 18 years old and has 8 badges. He is going to be a force. Dino Jukic, 76 overall, 5 badges. Julio Cunningham, 76, 4 badges. Cameron Bellamy, 75 overall, 5 badges for him. Paolo Pacciani, 76 overall, 1 badge. Vlade Rodic, 77 overall, 1 badge. Richards, 1 badge, 74 overall at pick 7. Pick 8, Rasheed Sanders, 74 overall, 2 badges. Pick 9, Ralph Simmons, 76 overall, 3 badges. What was his potential? I'm trying to avoid looking at that potential this time because it takes too long. I'm just going to go through the overalls and the badges here. 1 for finishing, shooting, and playmaking. But his potential, just as comparison to Wellington, is B. Okay. Then we took Wellington, who is a 76 overall, but also starts with 6 badges, which could be a huge development for his play style. His potential is B, which I kind of expected. But he's got 1 for finishing, a 1 for shooting, 3 for playmaking, and a 1 for defense and rebounding. I think he could be potentially a starter to start the year. Potentially. It just depends on Klay Thompson or potentially bringing somebody else in. Or if Azat maybe has that leap that we were talking about. Maybe he makes that leap to like a 76, 78 overall. And then he would start. But Wellington, with his shooting, his badges, his playmaking, I think he could be a really big piece of the offense in the upcoming season because this guy can do everything at a very high level already. At pick 11, Bernie Cage, 76 overall, 1 badge. Terrence Ryan, pick 12, 70 overall, 1 badge. So probably a very weird pick by Boston, but more so for potential than current ability. Pick 13, Wally Bass, 74 overall, no badges. Javon Haynes, 75 overall, no badges. He was on our draft board, and he's got B potential. Pick 15, Rolando O'Brien, 75 overall, and no badges. Pick 16, Kyle Gardner, 76 overall, 3 badges. Pick 17, Frederick Dennis, 72 overall, 1 badge. Pick 18, Bryant Fleming, 70 overall, and no badges. Pick 19, Charlie Schultz was on my draft board, 75 overall, no badges for him. Bojan Bilic, 4 badges at 71 overall. The Raptors took Oscar Tucker, who is a 74 overall that has 7 badges. That's what I'm talking about. This guy could be a really good shooter for Toronto, but his potential is probably already close to its peak. He's probably already close to his peak in terms of his overall. Clayton Dunn, 71 overall, no badges. And then Fredrickson, 72 overall, no badges for him. And his potential is B+. We take that all day. A- post defense, B+ boards. So I think he's going to get a lot of playing time like Zubats did. Probably like around 18 minutes off the bench somewhere in that ballpark. But I think he could be a really good backup behind Miles Turner. And maybe in a year or two, potentially a starter. Just depends on how he does and how Miles Turner plays too. Pick 24, Hamon Guzman, 75, 2 badges. So already better than Fredrickson. But what about his potential? Which is what I was kind of going for with this pick. Let's see here. He's got B. So, not too bad, but a very similar player. But he is 7'2". So that's a tall man right there. But next pick, Hans Meyer, 73 overall, 4 badges. He was on our draft board. He's got the potential and can shoot the ball pretty well with A+ 3-point scoring. Tommy Shepard, 73 overall, 2 badges, but he's 5'10". Wallace Doyle, 71 overall, no badges. Shane Blackman, 75, no badges. De La Rosa, 74 overall, 3 badges for him for the Magic. Chris Tavares, 74 overall, 3 badges for him. Aaron Castro, 72, no badges. And Mitch Cannon, 73 overall, 1 badge. Now for the second round, just going to show you guys the top overall players, not the potentials, but this guy, Reed Sullivan, at 75 overall, no badges for him. A couple of 71s down here, 72, 73 for Rob Waters, a 74 for Pete Sharp, 73 for Edmund Humphreys, 74 for Andre Temple, Alfonso Cortez, 73 overall, a 6'3" point guard with 3 badges. Gary Manning, 72. Leon McDonald, 72. Perry Ryder, 73. 6'6" shooting guard. Stephen Kennedy, 73. So, some solid picks down here. Those was a pretty deep class, I think. Not really, there was, that like one great player and then a bunch of guys in their mid-70s. So, pretty solid draft overall. Kelvin Gordon obviously is probably the unanimous favorite to win Rookie of the Year, but I really do think that our first pick, Wellington, could really provide some good stuff for us this season. So team player options, I'm going to accept both for Rivers and Smalls. This for us is a 2-year team option, so we're going to have him for at least 2 more years unless we trade him. But I do think that this season, this upcoming one, is probably the make or break year for Rivers. His badges need to go up from 2 to something else. His overall needs to go up, and he needs to play better and provide more while watching, especially because right now he's not doing as much as I thought he would. The qualifying offers, I am going to extend offers to both Dosunmu and Azette, but I'm not opposed to letting him walk for Dosunmu, but we'll just see what happens here. I think Azette is going to go up to like a 76, 77-ish overall, and I want to have him for 1 more year at the very least to see what he can do for us. But we will give offers to those 2 guys to match offer sheets, but now moratorium. They are 1 of 3, and we have a huge free agent class. You've got Giannis, Tatum, both unrestricted. You've got Cade Cunningham, Mobley, Jalen Green, Donovan Mitchell, Scotty Barnes, Josh Giddey, Lonzo Ball, B.I., Desmond Bane, who we might actually go after, to be honest, John Collins, Clint Capella, Franz Wagner, Ben Simmons, and more. This is a stacked class, and we might make one of our biggest signings with this class. So, off rip, we have a cap hold of about 70 mil because we have pretty much our entire team is going to be not on a current contract deal. So a lot of cap hold stuff. We don't have a lot of cap room right now, but the cap hold will clear most of that. But we don't have Klay Thompson. Obviously, I think we're going to have to not bring him back, but we could bring in a guy like Desmond Bane. And this would give us the opportunity to see Wellington with guys more at his skill level off the bench, and a great shooter in Bane with some good badges. Also, just a good defender. And he's only 27 years old, so it could be a big piece for us. And have him and Anderson side by side could be a deadly duo out on the 3-point line. So I'm just going to start off by making a deal or a offer for him. 4 years is probably a big commitment, but I really believe in Desmond Bane. I'm going to lower the offer a bit. I think he has one other offer, maybe perhaps. I'll have to check that real quick after I make the offer, but if I need to make it more enticing, then I will. But we make that offer. And what other teams are making offers? Can I view that? It's the Rockets making a really bad 1-year deal. We're offering a huge contract to him, so he should take that if no other team makes offers like that. But again, I'm trying to avoid the like absolute star stud players. And trying to just get guys that can be good like mid-80s pieces to us. So I think with that, we will also try and bring back D'Lo. Not for that much. So until a team makes an offer for him, I'm actually not going to make an offer for him. But we could look somewhere else, perhaps, if we need to. But I think right now I do want to bring him back for at least one more season just to see what he can provide for us. But let's advance and deal with these cap holds and everything. So Bane will agree. We have a Z on cap hold, which makes sense. We're gonna renounce rights to Bruce Brown, Chris Dunn, and Klay Thompson and Zubats. We'll keep it for Azette, Dosunmu, and D'Lo. So Desmond Bane has joined our team. We make this signing. He is officially with us. And he is now our top overall on the team, but a big get for us. And right now, here's who we have on the roster. Bane, Turner, Smith, Anderson, Rivers, Wellington, Smalls, and Fredrickson. So let's go and bring a couple of guys back. So first, we have Russell down here. I'm going to wait until somebody else makes an offer, because if we can get him for a very cheap contract at the very end of the market, then that would be best for us, because we currently have 22 million cap room and 18.7 in terms of cap hold. So let's try and bring back some other guys first. Klay Thompson. He's probably going to regress a lot, and we already just signed Bane, so I think we're good there. So for small forward, a couple of really good options here, but for the guys who are not restricted and also fit our system, I think a guy like Corey Kispert could be a good get for us, or Herb Jones as well, who is a great defender and can also shoot the ball pretty well. He does want a good amount of money, so that would cost us quite a bit. But if you sort by our system match, Lou Dort's up there, Herb Jones, and then a bunch of guys in the 3 to 3.5 star range, and including Corey Kispert, who I am kind of intrigued on bringing in. I don't see Cedi Osman here for some reason. Maybe he retired or something, but he should be on the small forward list, but I just don't see him. Oh, I see why. The Pelicans signed Cedi Osman. Okay. And Trey Jones re-signed with the Spurs. Okay. Some bigger signings up here with Mo Wagner going to the Hawks. Diallo goes to the Grizzlies. Williams returns to the Grizzlies. Duarte back to the Pacers. Paul George back to Portland. Sabonis to the Jazz. Bay to the Kings. Franz Wagner returns to Orlando. Capella to the Jazz again. There's our signing with Bane. Josh Giddey back to OKC. Scotty Barnes to Toronto. Mitchell goes to Milwaukee. Jalen Green over to the Rockets. Mobley returns to the Cavaliers. Cade returns to Detroit. Tatum returns to Boston. And Giannis returns to Milwaukee as well. So it's Giannis and Donovan Mitchell over in Milwaukee now as he exits Cleveland. So Herb Jones off the bench could be a good option for us. Offers right now, he's got offers around 7 mil. So I'm going to offer probably 8 mil. Yeah, 2-year deal, offer contract, and he declines. So I'll wait and see the deals for him. Okay, we're going to offer $14.38 million now for Jones because the Hornets upped their offer. He declines that one too, so he should not take the Hornets offer, I would have to imagine. D'Lo, still no offers on him. So Jones still has that 11.6 deal from the Hornets, and he has more interest now than he did prior to it, so I'm going to offer another deal around 14 mil over 2 seasons. The closer we get, the more he is likely to take a lower offer, so we'll offer around here instead. He declines that one too. For D'Lo, he still wants 21 mil, which is way more than I think that he is going to get. We're going to keep waiting on him. All right, day 9. Will Herb Jones take this offer? We're going to offer the same thing. He has to accept eventually because it's our best offer. It's the best offer that he's going to get from anybody else. So we'll offer him around here again. And this time he does not decline, so we might actually take that one. For D'Lo, I'm still going to wait one more week or so. D'Lo, still no offers. Herb Jones now has 7 offers. The Lakers have surpassed us, so we're going to have to up our offer. He wants to go to LA, so we're going to have to increase our offer to something else. All right, 2-year deal, 15.5 mil for Herbert Jones. And that ups us to 94 over LA, so that should be enough. For D'Lo, this number keeps going up every time for some reason. But I'm going to go back down to like 15 mil or so for him. All right, 15 mil for D'Lo, and he declines. So he still is holding out in hopes that somebody else will offer to him. And Jones will sign with Vancouver. Welcome, sir. And now we're on day 12. Trying to bring in D'Lo for one more year. We'll offer him one last deal. If we can't offer, or if he declines it, then I don't know if we can actually get him because the CPU might have the option to sign him on like a veteran minimum deal after this, I think. Which is how he was signed the previous season by the Clippers. Because he was on like a $2 million contract somehow. So hopefully he takes this deal. And we could not have to worry about that. All right, 15 mil. And he will consider it, finally. So now I'm going to also look at affordable small forwards as well. So we have Herb Jones, and Anderson and Azette can both play small forward, and Anderson will be playing small forward for us again this year. Bruce Brown, I think we could bring in, but as a guy who's probably not going to play unless someone gets hurt. So we'll offer him a very cheap contract, which he will probably accept, I would have to imagine. And I want to bring in a power forward for that same purpose. So for system match and money-wise, I think I like to bring in Caleb Martin, who is 6'5", but can still play the role. We'll offer him a cheap deal to be a reserves player. So D'Lo and Bruce Brown will return. Caleb Martin will sign. And this does result in us kind of renouncing the rights to Dosunmu. But I'll still try and cap hold that, because I believe those qualifying offers will go through right now. So yeah, Dosunmu does take the qualifying offer, 7.1 mil for him. And Azette is back on a $2 million deal as well. So now, Bane will stay at 85 overall. Turner stays at 82. Herb Jones goes up by 1 to an 82 overall. And Anderson goes up by 4 to 81. That's what I'm talking about. He goes up to B+ inside scoring, B+ mid-range scoring, B- inside defense, B playmaking, C+ rebounding, B+ IQ. Yes, sir. Now he has 10 badges. I forget. I think he had, 3 before? Now he has 10. And let's see what those are. He's got 1 for finishing. He's got Silver Pro Touch. But now he's got 9 shooting. This is going to be huge for Simon Anderson, man. He's got Silver Corner Specialist, Silver Green Machine, Bronze Agent 3, Bronze Catch and Shoot. That's going to be probably the biggest badge get for him. He's got Bronze Claymore, Bronze Deadeye, Bronze Limitless Range, Bronze Slippery Off Ball, which will get him more open for those threes, and Bronze Volume Shooter. Hell yes. Hell yes. He's going to be a stud. D'Lo goes down a bit, but still is pretty much the same player that he was. Dosunmu stays as he was. Rivers goes up by 3 to like an 80 overall-ish player, and he gains 5 badges because he had 2, as we saw. But now C inside scoring, B+ 3-point, which could be huge for the offense. A- inside defense. C- defense outside. C- playmaking. B IQ will help with his shots and things like that. Jalen Smith gets better shooting stats. Wellington stays where he is, obviously. Bruce Brown is pretty much the same player. Caleb Martin's pretty much the same player. Zet goes up by 3 to a 75. Does not gain badges, though, but he does go up to B- inside scoring, B- mid-range, and A- 3 points. B- inside defense, B+ defense outside, B- playmaking, C rebounds, and B- IQ. This is the make-or-break year for Zet, as I said. Rich Smalls also goes up to a 74. Do we consider giving him playing time? I'm not sure if we even could with how many guards we have on the team. This does, though, present a very interesting scenario because he's got 8 badges, 74 overall. And like he can actually compete for a spot, I think. Obviously not too happy with him being put down to the G League last season. He's pretty upset about that. But his badges are 5 for finishing, so he's got Acrobat, Aerial Wizard, Fast Twitch, Fearless Finisher, Posterizer, and then he's got Quick First Step and Needle Threader, as well as Rebound Chaser. So, yeah, he could be a big piece for us this season. Zet, his badges are both for finishing, so Bully and Slillery, which means that shooting is going to improve only because of the attribute upgrade, but he still won't knock down as many threes as he could if he did have badges like Anderson does. But Rivers, I forgot to check his badges, so we'll check those real quick. He's now got 5 for shooting. So Silver Catch and Shoot, Silver Deadeye, those are both pretty big. He's got Amped, Comeback Kid, and Guard Up. He also has Mismatch Expert and Post Lockdown. So I'm going to walk you guys through my thought process on these players. Who are the guys that this is pretty much a make or break year for? I think it's make or break year for D'Angelo Russell, Dosunmu, Rivers, and Omer Azet. Those 4 guys, I think, have to provide something more this year than we have seen so far, especially Azet and Rivers. And if those guys don't step up, then they could be potential trade pieces or some kind of thing like that. D'Lo, again, we had less than a full year last year with him, so I'm expecting him to probably be pretty solid this year for us. But guys, too, I'm not looking for any better play. I'm just looking for them to have that natural progression in play, and that's Desmond Bane, Herb Jones, Anderson, Jalen Smith, and that's it. For guys who I don't really know about too much, like I don't really care or I don't really have an opinion on, is Miles Turner, and Bruce Brown, and Wellington. But make or break years for Rivers, Azet, and Dosunmu especially. So look out for those guys. We still have, I think, 1 or 2 more roster spots to fill out, so I'll try and make a couple of signings to fill those holes in. So we actually have 14 players on the roster, so no need for us to make any signings again. But I'm going to change Anderson and Azet's positions to small forward officially, because Anderson goes from an 81 overall to an 83, and Azet goes from 74-75 to 76. So we'll make those changes. We'll confirm them. And as for Dosunmu, I think for him, I'm going to move him to shooting guard because I want Wellington to be the point guard off the bench. I think that he is probably closer to a traditional point guard than Dosunmu is, so I'll make him a shooting guard because I don't like him having the ball in his hands, to be honest. So right now, here's our game plan. We're going to start D'Angelo Russell, Desmond Bane, Simon Anderson, Horace Rivers, and Miles Turner. Off the bench, we've got Herb Jones, Jalen Smith. Byron Wellington might actually give him more minutes than Jalen Smith, to be honest. Just a few more. And then we've got after Smith, Dosunmu, and Azette. Now, this does mean that right now, Fredrickson is not going to be playing. I think there is going to be a time during the year where we might switch out Dosunmu or Smith or somebody to bring him on. But right now, we don't have a center coming off the bench, which is why Turner is playing 32 minutes per game to start the season. So a bit small off the bench, but I do think that Wellington, or not him, but Smith can play the 5. Jones can probably play the 4, and Azette is not going to be playing at the 3 spot off the bench. So same role as Anderson, just in a bench capacity. But this roster is a lot better than any previous year that we have had. We've got several 80-plus overall players, like 6 of them. That's going to be huge. I'm going to keep all of this stuff right here the same as it was at the end of last season. And that is what we're going to roll at the start of the year. But obviously there is room to make changes if we feel it is necessary. But we're going to watch the entire first game. We're going to watch the entire game next episode against Portland on the road. So we know that from years past, we were not a good road team whatsoever. That was our worst play came on the road. Our best play came at home. And this squad might be different, folks. I have a really good feeling about this team, and I really hope that we can come through and have some guys shine more so than last season, and also see what Desmond Bane can get us as a starter. So some huge moves that we have made. Nothing else that I want to do to start the year except check one thing, and that is the system proficiency, which is now at 3.5 stars, the highest it has ever been. So that is a good sign, I think. So that right there, folks, is all I have for the episode. We have completed another offseason, and we have made a couple of huge moves in preparation for year 4, which I think is going to be our best year of the series. I'm going to do all the badge training stuff between now and next episode, so don't worry about that. I'll get that set up right now, and I will leave you guys here. We start next episode and next season taking on the Portland Trail Blazers on the road. So until then, stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment your thoughts about what we did today down below, and your thoughts about what we could do this upcoming season, and I'll see you guys during the season opener. Thanks guys again so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time out. Peace.